Hi, this is Julie with Beadaholique, and today I want to show you how to dye Lacy's stiff stuff, which usually comes in this white color, using a fabric dye. And here I've actually got some sample swatches. And I made all 4 different colors using the same dye bath, and it was just the amount of time I left each piece in it. So this here, the lightest color, I left in just for the shortest second. Basically, I dipped it in and I pulled it right out. This one I left in for about 30 seconds. This one was left in for about 15 minutes. And this darkest one was left in for an hour. So I want to show you how to do this. I'm going to put my little color swatches aside, and I'm going to use a different color. But I want to first show you why you might want to do this. So I have this bead embroidered piece right here, and it's quite pretty, or I hope you think it's pretty. If you see right between the layers of beads, there's the white lacy stiff stuff showing through. So if you want to not have that happen, or you're going to be doing a pattern that actually shows some of the foundation backing, you're going to want to dye your lacy stiff stuff to match your design. And I want to show you how to do that. You're going to need some type of basin. I have just something that was bought at like a dollar store, just something inexpensive and disposable, because you're not going to ever want to use this for cooking. I've got my work surface covered in plastic. You'll probably end up doing this by the sink. I've got some gloves. I've got a popsicle stick to stir. I've got a measuring cup. This one here has 8 ounces on it, and I'll tell you the measurements we need in a moment. I've got a little swatch of Lacy's stiff stuff, which I'm going to put in the dye bath. I have some salt, and I have a whole host of fabric dyes. I'm going to be using a RIT dye for this particular project, but there are other dyes on the market that are great to use as well. And I think since I already dyed using the purple color, I'm going to use this fuchsia color. You can see the color right here. So first off, make sure you don your gloves. Anything that this dye gets on is going to stain, so be really careful. Cover your work surface, make sure you don't have the cat jumping around. Just make sure that you take every precaution necessary. Definitely cover your hands. You don't want to get this on your skin. And I'm going to start by taking a bit of salt, about a teaspoon, and putting it into my basin. Then I am very carefully going to open up my liquid dye. And I'm going to look on my measuring cup, and this only goes to 1 ounce, so I'm going to guesstimate where ½ ounce is. And you can adjust these quantities accordingly if you want a stronger dye or a lighter one. It's about ½ ounce. I'm just going to go ahead and put that right into my basin. Now, if I was doing this not on video, I'd be doing this by a sink. So now I'm going to go into the kitchen and get 2 full 8-ounce cups full of really hot water and dump them into the basin. Once you've dumped both cupfuls, go ahead and just take a popsicle stick and stir up the dye. Now I'm going to take my white sheet of Lacy stiff stuff, and I actually want to show you what's going to happen with 2 different instances. So I'm going to take one, just drop it in there, and I'm going to let that sit for about 10 minutes. On the second one, drop it in, pull it right out. Now what you need to do, and hopefully you're working near a sink or a source of water, is right away you're going to go ahead, take this and run it under hot water to remove any excess dye, and then we'll let that air dry. So now I've rinsed this with hot water. I'm going to let it dry, but I want to show you the color difference. So it's just the palest pink ever. So the longer you leave it in the dye bath, the darker it's going to become. And if you're not happy with the color you have right here, you can definitely just add some more dye. It doesn't have to be precise. You can play with it. There's a lot of freedom to it. You're just trying to get the color that you want. So I'm going to let this one here sit. You can see that little tab in there for about 10 to 15 minutes. Come back and I'll pull it out, I'll rinse it off, and I'll show you what color we ended up with. So this piece of Lacy stiff stuff, we've been patient and we've waited about 15 minutes. So I'm pulling it out of the bath, and I'm going to go rinse it right now and then come back and show you what color it actually is. So you can see how bright it is. Some of that's going to be pulled off when I rinse it, and I'm rinsing it in hot water. So I've rinsed this now in hot water. You can see the color we have. And this was about 15 minutes. So this one, this swatch right here was instant. Just dip it in and pull it right out. And here's what you'll get after about 15 minutes. So you can see quite a difference. So if you want to shade in between these two shades, you just leave it in for maybe 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you want to do. And if you want a darker shade, you'll just leave it in darker. If this bath doesn't look dark enough to you and the color's never going to get as rich as you want, don't be afraid when you first pour the hot water in to just instantly add some more dye to it. You really have a lot of flexibility here, and you're just a matter of figuring out what color you want. You could also take this piece and put it back in the bath as well. Try to do it when the water's still hot though. Make that decision early on. But you do have a lot of flexibility. And then to dispose of this, just carefully pour it down your sink and then rinse off your pan. Make sure you don't splash anything because it will stain the surface. And then just let these guys air dry like I did these pieces here. And then you'll be ready to go ahead and stitch onto them all your bead embroidery.